In this screencast, I'm going to give you an idea of how powerful Triumph can be for speeding up your workflow simply by utilizing AppleScript. Now I'll start by showing you the most manual way to add mixes, reorder them, define their starts and ends with labels, and burn a disk. And then, utilizing an AppleScript we've provided in the Triumph user guide, I'm going to run the same process in literally a fraction of the time. Now I'll start by importing my assets. To do that, I go to the Add or Create New Assets button in the toolbar, and I select the assets I want to add. Now you'll see that these are in a variety of formats. They're also in a variety of sample rates, but unlike most apps, Triumph is okay with that. Your project does not need to contain just one sample rate, bit depth, channel count, format. It likes it all, which means it's really flexible. So to add them, I select them all, click Open. Triumph displays the progress of the import in line next to the asset. Now it also supports Notification Center, so you'll be notified up above when the import is complete. Now, one thing to note, these assets didn't automatically get populated as layers. It's because I've turned that off in the preferences. You can turn it back on by going to Preferences General and selecting this checkbox. We'll leave it off for this example. Now next, I want to create new layers from these assets. To do that, I simply drag the asset up into the Layers pane, and I'm going to do that in the order of the tracks that I would like the project or final burn to be in. So I simply drag and drop. Now you'll notice that the layers get added right on top of each other by default. Now this might be really handy if you're working on a sound design project where interacting audio that's layered and creating new and exciting sounds is something you want. But here in a burn of a CD, I want these tracks to be one right after the other. So I can adjust their placement by selecting the layer name up above in the toolbar. So I've got all my assets, all my layers. Now I'm going to deselect some of these to make it a little bit easier to tell where the start and end of each of these tracks are. So I select the second track or layer. I drag it to the end of the previous. The same with the third layer or track, and you'll see that I will make it active. I'll turn it on here so you can see it. I'll go over and drag the final track to the final spot. This is the epic closer. Okay, they're all in order. Now next I want to add labels. So to add labels, I go to the labels pane here, and all I have to do is drag and drop the label onto the layer and pull it to the start and end. I'm going to select the next layer. All right, and the very end. And I'm ready to burn a disk. Okay, so we've got all of our tracks, our layers in Triumph terminology are reordered, they're relabeled. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run the exact same process utilizing an AppleScript you can find in your Triumph user guide. So I'm going to go out of full screen mode here. I'm going to start a new project, make it a little bit larger so you can see it. Now, all I have to do is double click on this import mixes as layers with track labels script. Again, you can find this in your user guide. And what that's going to do, now all I have to do is double click. That's going to ask me to choose the assets I want it to import for me. You'll remember these assets from before. So I select all four of the assets and I hit choose, and watch the magic happen. Now you'll see that Triumph is automatically importing those assets. You'll see the progress down below in the assets pane. It's automatically adding a layer or creating a layer from that asset, and it's giving it a start and end, which you can see those dotted lines. Those are the track labels that we added manually. And that's it. It took maybe 2 seconds. I'm ready to burn a disk. That's just one example of what AppleScript can do. Triumph is built with AppleScript from the ground up, so it's totally flexible and customizable to your workflow.